Welcome to a new series of videos that I'm going to be doing called Stream Report. The idea behind this series is that there is so much going on in the streaming world today, so many new announcements, news, acquisitions, things like that, that I want to still be able to tell you guys about that news, but they don't really deserve their own separate video. So the idea behind Stream Report is it's going to be a collection of those topics that I release maybe once a month, talking through some of the big news that's been happening in the streaming world. So in today's Stream Report, we're of course going to be covering the news about Shroud moving to Mixer away from Twitch, also the new Streamlabs OBS update that allows for selective recording, OBS's hot fix that hopefully has fixed those issues that have plagued games like PUBG and Apex Legends to do with GPU utilization. We'll also cover the new Twitch dashboard now that that's started rolling out and everyone can get their hands on that, as well as some features that Twitch are going to be removing from the VOD platform specifically, and much, much more. All of that coming up after a quick message from today's sponsor. The new Stream Deck XL from Elgato offers a massive 32 customizable keys that you can use to control all the different aspects of your live stream. Get studio level control with more access to time-saving integrations directly at your fingertips. To find out more, visit the link at the top of the description. So let's get started straight away with the news about Shroud moving to Mixer. He's leaving Twitch and is going to be streaming exclusively on Mixer. He's not the first streamer that this has happened to. Obviously, about 2.5 months ago, we had the big news that Ninja was moving across to Mixer for probably a huge sum of money. But now I think we get a real idea of the intent of Mixer, that they're going after these top streamers from Twitch. One interesting thing to note here is that Ninja and Shroud together were the two top streamers on Twitch in 2018. Another thing to note is that Shroud is one of those players that, because of his professional background in CSGO, is incredibly talented at FPS games. So the announcement timing along with the new Call of Duty release just seems too perfect for me. I think this must have been planned. But one thing to note was that on his first Mixer stream, Shroud hadn't got any of his assets and overlays and chat sorted with Mixer. So there was a lot of empty space in his intermission scene, for example. So maybe they rushed this announcement out just to coincide with the Call of Duty release. I think we really now get an idea as to what Mixer's plan is here. They are going after the big streamers from Twitch, people that already have their own brand and audience. Ninja and Shroud are two examples of people that really, they're not signed to a team or anything like that. They have their own merch, their own brand that they can take anywhere to any platform. So they're not reliant on Twitch at all. I put a poll out on Twitter last night to see who you guys thought Mixer would be approaching next. There's a lot of rumors about people like Dr. Disrespect. I'm sure all of the big streamers now are really considering their options. And if there's big money on the table from companies like Mixer, and we don't know if Twitch are really offering the same kind of thing. The only thing that Twitch has announced recently was their signing of Nick Merckx on some kind of exclusive contract. So we don't know if the big streamers are also on things like that, but they are definitely having the negotiations probably with Twitch as well as Mixer. As with the Ninja situation, I imagine there's probably going to be a bit of a dip in viewership for Shroud as he moves to a new platform. But now that there's more than one really large streamer over on Mixer, there are going to be lots of different options for you as a viewer to maybe stay over there. So we're going to have to see exactly how the move works out, but exciting news nonetheless. Okay, so let's get started with selective recording in Streamlabs OBS. So the latest version 0.18 of SLOBS, allows you to do something called selective recording. Essentially what that is it allows you to have a different list of sources that you can record compared to what you're streaming whilst doing both simultaneously. So you can remove things like your alerts, your overlays, your webcam if you want from the recorded VOD, even though you're still including all of those sources for your live stream. This is particularly useful for those of you that want to upload videos to YouTube that don't have your donation alerts or your subscriber alerts coming up on the screen in the middle of it. You just have your gameplay, or maybe you just have your gameplay and your webcam. That is what's actually recorded to your hard drive, whilst your stream still has all of the extras that you want on top. To enable and actually use selective recording, what you need to do is make sure that you have the latest version of Streamlabs OBS installed. Come down to the sources window and click on this new icon to toggle selective recording. Once enabled, you'll get a list of new icons appearing next to each of these sources in your current scene, and these icons they will tell you which sources are visible on your stream, which are visible on your recording, and which are visible on both your stream and your recording. Simply clicking on this icon will cycle through so that you can choose which option you desire for that specific source. Before you actually go live, I think it's worth just quickly having a preview of what you're recording as well as the preview that you have of what you're streaming. And you can quite easily do that by right-clicking on the preview window and selecting Create Recording Output Projector. That will open up a new window just showing exactly what the view looks like for your recording, so that you can make sure that you didn't miss anything. Once that's done, you can click Start Streaming, Start Recording, and you'll have two separate video feeds, one that you'll be sending out to Twitch or wherever you're streaming, and one for your VOD that you can then upload to social media. One thing that is worth noting about this new selective recording feature is that it is still using two separate encoders. So the workload on your PC, especially if you're using two X264 encoders, is going to be more. So if you're not on the strongest PC, this might be a difficult feature for you to run, but the only way to be sure is to try it out. Okay, the next thing that we're going to be talking about is OBS GPU allocation fix. So this, in the latest version of OBS Studio version 24.0.3, includes a fix on Windows that helps fix those low frame rate or render lag issues that were caused by GPU allocation. Now, this issue really became notable for me around the release of Apex Legends, but apparently this has been around for a couple of years now, particularly prevalent in games like PUBG and Overwatch. What has been happening is that Windows has been prioritizing your game over every other application that it's running on Windows, which is obviously great because you want those high frame rates in game. What isn't great though, the unintended consequence, is that Windows wasn't allowing or really reserving any of your GPU resources for OBS, which is obviously required for compositing and rendering your scenes. So what occurred was that your game would run at these really high frame rates and it would look great for you, but it'd be utilizing over 95% of your GPU's resources. So OBS would be forced then to drop frames due to render lag, so your stream would appear choppy for your viewers. So the OBS devs, along with Nvidia, have worked really hard on this, and they believe that they found a temporary fix. The reason it's just temporary at the moment is because there are a few caveats. For example, for this new version 24.0.3, you need to be running OBS as an administrator to be able to enable this fix, and it's also recommended that you are on Windows version 1903 and you're now enabling the game mode in Windows. Of course, the OBS devs and Nvidia devs are investigating ways to make this fix available without the need to run OBS as an admin. But right now, because it's just treated as a temporary hotfix, they're really just looking to gather data from more users to see how it performs. I'll definitely be doing a full video on this topic once the feature is fully tested and implemented, but for now I just wanted to get this out in this stream report because I know there's probably loads of you that are playing these games like PUBG, Overwatch, Apex Legends, and having these high GPU utilization issues. And apparently from testing, this looks like it might be the fix that everybody has been wanting. Right, next up we have the Twitch dashboard updates. I mentioned these in my video about TwitchCon announcements, but it's now available for all streamers to try. So all you need to do is head to your current Twitch dashboard and click on this blue bar up at the top. Now, the new dashboard has been renamed to Stream Manager, and it's a much more modular system, meaning that you can move and resize each of these elements to suit your needs. By default, up top you have some stats for the channel showing how long you've been streaming for, as well as your current viewer count. And one of the really nice additions here is that if you want to hide any of these stats whilst you're streaming, you can simply click on them and they won't show. So this is really useful if you don't want to concentrate on your viewer count, for example. You also have these quick actions here down on the right hand side or wherever you've positioned them, which you can customize, and they allow you to easily control your stream with just one click. So you can pull in whatever quick actions you want and you can customize exactly what settings each action has. Now, speaking of viewer counts, Twitch in the last week announced that they have made some changes to better detect and remove artificial views, specifically from third-party sites designed to inflate some people's numbers. So this looks like it's going to be targeting fake engagement, people that are view botting, follow for follow, lurk for lurk groups, as well as third-party sites designed to reward lurking behavior. Twitch also reiterated in their statement that normal lurking will still be counted. So if you're a viewer that's watching but not chatting, or you're watching with the stream or the browser tab muted, or maybe you watch a handful of different streamers simultaneously, your viewer count will still count. Finally, Twitch have announced that 3 features are going to be discontinued in the next month. They are premieres, chat rooms, and VOD commenting. Premieres was that way of being able to watch a video live with your audience, a video that you've uploaded live with your audience all at the same time. Exactly the same as YouTube premieres, but obviously it wasn't very popular, and that's being taken down on the 12th of November. Chat rooms are also being discontinued. That's a little bit earlier, the 30th of October. And then users being able to send chat messages on past broadcasts or VODs is being removed on the 12th of November also. I'm really keen to hear what you guys think about the first episode of Stream Report, and if it's something you want to continue seeing on this channel. I'm probably only going to do them sort of once a month. There obviously has to be enough news in the streaming industry for me to write an episode. But if you have any ideas for the next episode, do hit me up on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, email. Just reach out to me however you can. Just before we go, I have been working hard on a new section of the website where you can find my streaming build recommendations. That's been something that I've been doing for a couple of years now, and people have found really helpful. I've actually now moved these across to my website, which allows me so much more freedom in terms of being able to add images and videos and really as much description as I want for each of the parts chosen. So I still have the 3 builds: budget build, professional build, and ultimate build, depending on your budget. But now I have versions for both AMD and Intel variants, so whichever processor you end up wanting to get. If you're new to the Gaming Careers YouTube channel, I'd highly recommend checking out the other content that we have built specifically for streamers. And as always, I would like to give a massive thanks to the patrons of the channel this month. These people support the Gaming Careers YouTube channel, and I am very thankful for that. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.